of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Linda, would you lead us in roll call?
Hank?
Here.
Chris?
Here.
Neil?
Here.
Sarah?
Here.
And here. All here.
Great. So, I'm sure everybody knows, but Justice Ron Morrison passed away this month. For me, Ron was just such an example of what it means to contribute to your town, what it means to give so much of your life and so much of your time to something, to the public good. When I first started, just over 2 years ago, there was a complaint about, there's this guy, he's taking out the garbage, he's in his 80s, and I didn't know Ron at the time, and I wanted to know, what's all this all about. So I sat down with him. We met here at the town hall. We talked for 2 hours, and he told me that he'd go drag himself to the post office before he died. He'd be taking out our mail, and it's true. He took out our mail up until just before he passed away. He cared so much about this place. He didn't care about the politics. He didn't care about the credit. He just cared about doing right by our town. And it was, I'm sad to see him go. And we have been blessed these many decades to have had his service. So I don't know if there's anybody else on the council who'd like to say a word about Ron. Otherwise, let's just have a moment of silence.
The fact too that his wife is a deputy clerk for us, and she's given a lot of time for the town as well. So the whole family has been a big asset.
Godspeed. Our county executive, Matt Ossenfort, will be here tonight. He's running just a little bit late, so I would suggest that we move that down the agenda. Otherwise, are there any other items that the council would like to add or amend to the agenda tonight?
The date needs to be changed. Should be May 25th, not April 27th.
Any other changes?
I didn't see an executive session for the CBA, and we need to discuss that.
Executive session.
For the collective bargaining agreement, there's some new developments. I spoke with Michael Richardson, and we need to discuss
Okay.
that. Okay.
All right, so we'll amend the date on the agenda and add an executive session to discuss the union bargaining process. Any other changes?
Anything on the cash violations?
We can report out in council comments and supervisor comments. Great. So let's hold public comment. I know Matt wanted to have a dialogue with the residents. So let's hold public comment till after he does his presentation.
Just hold him, so.
Oh, great,
we don't
okay.
have there.
All right, so we'll go to reports. Let's start with Art.
All right. Since last month, we finished working on a stone wall on Crater Road. We've also did a short section on South Con Road. Been ditching and fixing shoulders all over the place. We're doing a lot of cold patching on the county roads. A lot of the shoulders are breaking off, so we're using materials to fix the edges of the county roads. Painting plow equipment when we can. It's got to be done outside, so weather permitting. We also fixed the we call it the lower shop, the old building on the property up there. It's been in need of repair for a while, and the one corner post was broke right off, so we lifted it up and fixed it, and fixed the tin work on the end. It's just a temporary fix. My hopes is down the road, that building can be replaced with, if we ever do put a sand barn up, we put a lean-to off the side of the sand barn.
What does it hold right now?
We've got some truck parts and everything. You know, we got chippers in there, the big generator, the plow equipment that we take off for the summers in there, just keeping it dry. You know, the building, it needs a roof, you know, it leaks in a couple spots, but 99% of the stuff in there stays dry. It's not really worth putting money into, that's why it's a lot of money. We actually found some steel upstairs in the building that was left over when we built the big shop. We laid it vertically sideways, it's not the way it's supposed to be used.
It looks good. I saw it, I said, boy, that's way better than what you
Yeah,
had
it
there,
was,
so.
you know, I mean, the corner settled so far that it was buckling all the steel on the end of the building. So we lifted it up with a loader, rebuilt the corner post, and then we had to put a couple new joists in the end for holding the steel up and nailers. And like I said, we used steel, didn't cost very much to fix it, but it looks a lot better now than what it did. And the last thing I got was last month, last month I discussed with you guys the road work that I had planned on doing, we couldn't use the CHIPS money on. So, doing some recalculation, I don't want to roll that money over with the risk that we may not get that money again. So what I've come up with is what I'd like to do now is, as you see on the paper there, there's $125,000 in the budget for permanent improvements. That does not include the $15,000 plus of paid New York money we were given, but it does include the $66,000 of CHIPS money. So technically, with what's in the budget and the $15,000, we got a little over $140,000 available for permanent improvements. I would like to, knowing that I can't use the CHIPS money to do the chip sealing, I would like to pave the remainder of Horning Road. It's 3,705 feet. It would cost approximately $50,700 to do that. Pave North Con from where we left off 2 years ago, down past Bourse, just past where the partial we plow, to the seasonal section I call it. That's 1,850 feet. So you're looking at it roughly $77,000 right there. And then chip seal half of the roads that I was gonna chip seal. What I figure is about a day's work. Because you gotta pay for the machinery by the day to do the work. So I wanna get like a full day's work out of them when they're there. I don't wanna just have them come in, pay for a day's work. You pay for a full day and only have them work for 3-4 hours. So I'd like to chip seal those 3 roads right there, South Con, North Con, and Crutz Road. And that would cost approximately $35,000 for a grand total of $111,000. That would still leave approximately $29,000 in the budget.
Now, Art, just so I get this, the North Con is around the 2 S curves there till where it stops. Is that where you're going?
That's what we call it, yep.
Okay, and then the Horning would be past the cell tower.
Yep, we own past this, I said we own, but it's Town Road, past the cell tower, down to almost the end. There's 175 feet of that, approximately 175 feet that belongs to the town of Mohawk.
Okay.
And the turnaround. I've talked to Bill from town of Mohawk. They would be willing to pay to have the rest of that road paved, because I explained to Bill, one of my reasonings for wanting to do that is that's the only dirt road we have over that way. So we're running the road grader all the way over there to grade that road. And I said, if we pave our section, we're not gonna run our road grader over there to grade, because normally we grade his 175 feet for him. I said, we're not gonna run the grader over there to grade 175 foot road. So he's all in favor of paying to pave right down to the end of the road and the turnaround.
Well, that would be good, because there's 4 new lots up there. That got.
There's a lot of lots up there.
Yeah, there's a lot of lots, and now what about that hill though? You think we're gonna have any issues?
No, no.
Okay, because I saw you graded, you did the ditch all the way down.
Just cleaning ditches, yeah.
Okay.
You know, it's because it is a dead end, it's not gonna be paved as wide as what we normally pave. We narrowed it up to 16 feet rather than, normally we pave 18 feet. But the road is only 16 feet out where it's paved now. You know, it's a a dead end, not 70 mile an hour road. So,
Mhm.
like,
No, that would
like
be
in front of
good.
your house is like
Yeah.
100 mile an hour road.
Yes, it is. But no, that's a good section up there.
And then, the north con is from where the blacktop ends now, just up over the hill, past Schaefer's down to Laverne Boris' house, where we plow.
And I've gotten complaints about that.
Yeah, and
They'd
it's,
love to have that.
the hill gets choppy, it gets dusty. Calcium is getting out of this world in price. It's incredible what calcium costs now to spray. Plus maintenance,
Yeah.
just.
So I forget how we normally do this.
So
Do we do a
we've got-
resolution?
We've got two options. We can go to bid for the chip sealing can be done on state contract. You're probably not gonna beat that price. The paving can either be done by going to bid, opening bids next month, or we can work off the county bid price, which is probably gonna cost a little bit more. I mean, if we, go to bid, I can have the exact numbers what it would cost, because on the county bid, you gotta pay for trucking per mile, per ton, and I didn't measure how far it is from Hanson, St. Johnsville to the road, you know what I'm saying? So, I can have that number as a solid number
Right,
on the
to
county
compare
bid, to compare to what, an open bid price would be.
Right.
So if you guys are interested in doing that, I need a motion to put out a bid package and, with open bids next month.
Does that pretty much take care of any unpaved roads within the township?
We'd be down to about 5.
Okay.
The little piece of Gerhardt's and
A little piece of Gerhardt's, Lane Road, which is up off of
Okay.
Route 10,
Yeah.
Failing Hill, which is
Okay,
pretty much
yeah,
a
I know where that
driveway.
is.
Hankel and Kreider,
That one.
they're out right by the town line, headed out by Sarah's house.
and then one up off
And
the
then
67.
Kilsville.
Kilsville.
Okay. So this would put a pretty big dent in what we have in our.
Yeah, and honestly, in the last couple of years, we've covered dirts, and I can see a big difference in the amount of gravel I have to buy for maintaining the dirt roads, It costs a lot of money to pave a road, but if, like, I wanna use Horning Road, for example, at $50,000, this has a life expectancy of at least 10 years.
Okay.
So theoretically, it's only $5,000 a year,
Mhm.
okay, over 10 years. To spray that road with calcium at the recommended rate, it would cost about $2,500 every time you spray it with calcium.
I see. Okay. So you're saying you feel it would be quite advantageous to go ahead and
Oh,
get this out of
absolutely.
the way?
Dirt roads are very expensive to maintain.
Okay. Well, I had no idea.
Well, you figure time,
Oh,
going
sure.
out there with a grader, grading them, bringing material out, and calcium, like I said, calcium is going, calcium is $1,000 a ton.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. See, those are
Plus
all
it's,
things I didn't realize.
less wear and tear.
And a beef
you're not
on
being
our
late
land.
on it.
Another thing is
Wow,
too, is
yeah.
when you get wintertime, when you get freezing rain, dirt roads freeze a lot faster than the blacktop roads.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of times where we're running all over town just to stay on the dirt roads, but the blacktops don't need it.
Okay.
And like I say, Horning Road is over on that extreme end of the town.
Right.
So that would eliminate having to run over there with a sand truck if we're just sanding the dirt roads.
To me, this is a no-brainer. It's primarily, the two paving requests are primarily covered by the CHIPS money.
Right.
So, I mean, I think
That's what my
a
hopes is, that
no-brainer.
it's pretty close.
And I would recommend that we just hold off on the decision for chip sealing. I would take one more look at the budget,
Yeah.
make sure, but for those two.
No,
for
if
sure.
you guys wanna go to bid for the paving sections, we open the bids next month, that gives you more time to look at the budget,
Mhm.
and then we'll have a solid number of what it would cost to pave.
Right.
I mean, blacktop is coming down in price,
Is
this is
it?
a good year to do a blacktop project.
Okay. Is that what you would advise, Art, to go ahead and put it out for bid and see
Yeah,
where we
I would
end
put it
up?
out to bid, yeah.
And we have about
Okay. Makes sense.
81 grand sitting in the chips. Is that what it is?
Well, there's 66,000 CHIPS money and 51,000 of the paved New York, which has to be used for paving.
Okay, well, that's what you're doing. You're
So-
paving, okay.
Good.
That 15,000 has to be used for paving. So technically, from the state this year, we're gonna receive $81,000
Okay.
I see.
if we use it. If you don't use it, you may not get it next year.
No, I don't think we should risk that.
I don't wanna
I
risk it.
don't
No,
think we
that's,
should.
it's like,
It's like dangling a $100 bill in front of your face and
And
saying,
you
you
won't
want it,
pay.
or you wanna wait till next
Yeah.
year? Maybe
Maybe
you
you
can
can
have
get
it.
200.
Right,
Or
maybe.
lose, get nothing.
Right.
Yeah, I agree.
So we don't need a resolution now.
No, just a motion to
Just-
go out to bid.
Okay.
I'll make that motion. to put it
I'll
to-
second the motion. And put it out to bid.
Just to clarify, this is a motion to put out to bid both Horning Road and North Con Road paving projects. Any discussion?
Yeah, I just have one more question.
Sure.
So, we're gonna get a bid all the way to the end, and then we'll find out what, of Horning, and then we'll tell Mohawk what their cut would be, is that how it's gonna work?
I'll put it in the bid specs that Mohawk is gonna pay for that portion. You know what I'm saying? The contractors have no problem splitting up the tonnage that he's
Okay,
gonna
that's fine.
use. Because generally the bids are done per ton.
Okay.
You know, so much per ton. And we can get it delivered and put on the road cheaper than the average person can go up there and buy it for.
That's fine. I was just curious about how we're gonna do that.
No, we wouldn't have to do any billing or nothing to Mohawk. It would all be done by the
Okay,
contractor.
fine.
Okay, and that's all I got. unless you
Any
guys-
other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay.
That's all I got.
Anything else for the
Unless you guys do anything else. Well, I got the chance, I'm just gonna wish you all have a happy holiday weekend.
Thank you.
You as well.
Thank
as
you.
well.
All right,
Thank you.
before we move on to the other reports, I'd love to welcome County Executive Matt Ossenfort, and also acknowledge County Legislator Roy Diamond, who both came to our meeting tonight.
Thank you.
So come on up.
Okay, so I usually have Andy with me to do, to project this, but tonight we don't have that, so I did print a bunch of handouts. Hopefully we'll have enough, but I'll go through it, and we used to bring my gum. I'll go through it as quick as I can, and we'll kind of get a sense on time. If I stand here, I think everybody can hear me. So, what I do every year is I do a State of the County in the end of February, and this year I thought it'd be a good thing to go to every town, village, and the city in the county to, you know, number one, give an update on what's been going on at the county, but also, you know, it's an opportunity to hear back. With the new form of government, obviously, you don't have that direct relationship with a supervisor at the county. So I'll get right into it. When I first did it, it took about an hour. I can do it a lot shorter than that, but I'll go through it quick. And if you have any questions, let me know, stop me. Feel free to just kind of wave or yell at me, whatever you want to do. And I can answer some questions, and then we'll take it from there. Some nights it's gone longer than others, but I'll try to go through it pretty quick. So the way I frame this and the way I did it every year, when we first started, we really put together, you know, a core set of principles that, you know, really drive decision making and how we prioritize, you know, our time at the county. And you'll see here, and that's the speech revolves around these core principles. So every year, you know, basically what I do is, okay, this is what we accomplished last year, and these are the goals we've set for the future. So we're going to get right into it, and I'll just go through them. The first one is sound budgeting and financial planning. This isn't a budget speech. I also do one of those in September every year. But there's two main things that drive the budget this year that I thought was notable. The first one is the tax cap. We're all familiar with the tax cap. The tax cap is going to be at 0.5% this year. And that would result in about $135,000 increase in the tax levy should we be at the tax cap. Now, it sounds like a lot of money. When you put it in the perspective of a $109 or $108 million budget, it's not a lot. Our expenses are going up a lot more than the $135,000. But in previous years, we've been able to save money in certain places, find efficiencies. Now we were able to keep, you know, up with our capital investments and some other things that we're doing. I'm sorry, I didn't bring enough copies. This is a little more people at this meeting than most of the meetings I've been to. So that's obviously a driver for the budget. The second piece is also sales tax. Obviously, property tax and sales tax are the two biggest revenue sources for the county. And last year, actually, we took the largest percentage hit of any county in the entire state. So that was not a good thing. But when you look at the numbers, in 14 we collected about $29.2 million in sales tax, and in 15 it was 27.15. or excuse me, it was 27.2. So we had about a $2 million drop. The silver lining was that we did a very conservative budget estimate, and we actually hit our budget estimate of 27.15. So we didn't have a huge hit to the fund balance, which was a good thing. But obviously, with sales tax being down, that's something to be concerned about. The good news is, after the first quarter of this year, with gas prices being relatively low, we're seeing sales tax up 6%. So when you dig into, what happened with sales tax the previous year, if you go over to the next page, in 11, 12, 13, and 14, we collected about $5.7, $5.8 million in sales tax directly from the sale of fuel. We have 2 rest areas and one of the busiest truck stops on the entire thruway in the county. So we get a lot of, sorry, go ahead.
What's your fund balance amount? How much do you have in a fund balance right now?
The last AUD was at about 16 million. The actual number right now on this day is about $11.8 million.
Okay, now what percentage of that was the total budget? Is there a rule or something?
The rule is 10 to 15%. We're within that margin on the lower end. We're just over 10%.
Okay, that is the rule, 10 to 15%?
The state controller recommends 10 to 15%.
I know schools are 4%.
Yeah, we're at 10 to 15. We're on solid ground with our fund balance. However, we've been reducing the reliance on fund balance to balance the budget over the years that I've been there. But it's still, we're looking at about $3 million of fund balance to plug the budget each year. So, obviously it's something we're going to keep a close eye on, but we're in good shape right now.
You know how a fund balance is born?
In a whole host of ways.
It's over taxation of budgets that are really not accurate budgets. They're inflated, and then you build up a big fund balance.
Yeah, I would not say that's the case with our budget. Usually with, one of the biggest areas where you'll see carryovers of monies from year to year that aren't spent are on personnel and positions that either went a period during the year where they weren't filled, or we had turnover and it just took time to get people into place. That's where you usually see the biggest carryover, at least what I've seen in the 3 years that I've been there.
So in the past, in the history from the past, is it necessary to have that big a fund balance?
Our fund balance right now, I think, is on the low side of that recommendation. So we're where we need to be, but the reason I'm concerned and want to keep a close eye on it is because we do have to plug the budget with about $3 million of fund balance each year to try to stay under that tax gap. So
in a few years, that's going to be gone.
It depends. We're reducing the amount of money we need to plug it. Step by step. That's the goal. But so it's something we're keeping a close eye on. So, but when you look at that sales tax drop, it was primarily due to fuel. So, which is something that's frankly, it's good for people to have obviously local fuel, but it's an issue for the county. However, though, the 6% increase with fuel prices still low is an encouraging sign that really the growth is happening in the local economy and people's discretionary income and sales tax dollars. So that's just a little update on the budget and where we are. But the department heads get their budgets to me in July. I work on it for a couple months. I submit my executive budget in September, and then we pass by October. So that's just kind of the timeline. And if anybody's interested, September you could come listen, and we will talk in greater detail about the budget. So next up in the core principles, the first one is sound budgeting and financial planning. The second one is the economic development portion of this speech, which this year this is a good chunk of what I'm going to talk about. And really what we've been focusing on is this regional business plan that we have with the 2 counties, Fulton and Montgomery counties. The CEO Roundtable put together this plan. I think it's a fantastic plan. And I try to stick to it and stay focused on it in everything we do. Obviously, a big part of economic development for us is trying to get dollars from the state for big economic development projects. And last year, there was $42.2 million in what they call CFA awards. These are the Governor's Regional Economic Development Councils and the consolidated funding applications that we submit to them to try to get money for projects within the county. Of that $42 million that was available within our region for specific projects, we got about $8 million of that, which is 19%, which we outperformed our population with other counties in the region. So that's usually the gauge that I look at to see if we had a good year or a bad year for CFA awards. last year we had a good year. One of the biggest projects was the Global Village at FMCC. I'll speak a little bit later in the talk about why I think that project was so important. That was $3.5 million. You'll see here just a couple of the others. We have a new healthcare facility in Fonda. There's going to be 12 to 15 new employees. There's an information systems business in Amsterdam, 57 new employees, and a couple other items. Moving on, it's not also about getting new businesses into the county. It's also about trying to keep the businesses that are here. There was one, Amsterdam Print, and you might say, Matt, what does Amsterdam Print have to do with me and Palatine? Well, it has a lot to do with you and Palatine. We're all connected. There was a point where Amsterdam Print was actually looking to go to New Jersey. New Jersey was offering some very aggressive incentives to try to lure businesses to New Jersey. In this case, I believe it was actually they were offering to build a new facility for very little cost for the business. Our Business Development Center worked with the state. We wrote a $900,000 CDBG grant, also in addition to a much larger state incentive package. And ultimately, those 360 jobs ended up staying in Montgomery County. So that was a big bit of good news. If that company would have left, you would have felt the effects all over the county. So that is just kind of an update in here just to tell you that all the funds have been received and expended, and the final closeout documentation has been submitted to the state. So that's almost done. Again, another keeping a business within the county. There's a company called the Home Helpers. It's another healthcare company. They received a revolving loan, a loan from the county IDA's revolving loan fund for about $100,000, and also we just successfully helped them with a $250,000 grant that was just announced yesterday, actually, and that kept